King Charles III has been diagnosed, they say, with a form of cancer.
Whether King Charles dies or abdicates, Prince William will one day take the throne, and things are going to change for Camilla.
What if everything you believed about the royal family was only half the truth? What if behind the smiles, the ceremonies, and the crowns, there were secrets so deep they could tear the palace apart? This story isn't about fairy tales or royal celebrations. It's about the one moment that almost destroyed the monarchy. A battle fought not with armies, but with whispers, power, and betrayal. After weeks of appearing strong and stable, King Charles's health suddenly took a dark, unexpected turn. Within hours, the palace went silent, the media froze, and the public was left guessing. But while the world prayed for the king's recovery, something far more dangerous was unfolding behind those hospital doors. Who was really in control during those critical hours? Why were certain members of the royal family kept away from his bedside? And what truth was the palace so desperate to hide? Because when the truth finally came out, it didn't just change one family, it shook the entire kingdom. This is the story of the day the royal mask slipped, and the monarchy faced its darkest hour. Sudden health crisis rocks the monarchy. After days of apparent recovery, King Charles's health took a sudden and alarming turn, throwing the royal family into chaos. Each member longed to be by his side, yet Queen Camilla seized complete control, using her status as his lawful wife to bar Prince William and Princess Anne from his hospital room. In the palace, whispers and suspicious glances began to circulate, each carrying hidden tension. The royal household, normally a symbol of dignity and order, now buzzed with unease and uncertainty. That night, while only Camilla was present at Charles's bedside, the king suffered a severe medical emergency. Alarms rang, doctors rushed in, and in the midst of the turmoil, Camilla suddenly fled the room. Her sudden departure left a cloud of rumors and suspicion, all pointing toward William. Was there a hidden secret behind her private hours with Charles? And how would the king survive when even his closest family seemed powerless to intervene? Golden autumn sunlight spilled through Buckingham Palace's towering stained glass, but inside, tension weighed heavily, suffocating the corridors. On September 15, 2025, King Charles III suffered a sudden relapse. Cancer had plagued him for years.
King Charles III is sharing a rare health update amid his cancer battle. Over a year after the British monarch shared he had been diagnosed with an undisclosed cancer in February of 2024.
But this attack struck like a hurricane. During a private meeting on environmental reforms, Charles went pale, trembled, and collapsed across the table. Guards rushed in as shouts echoed through the palace. Within minutes, an ambulance waited at the gates, ready to whisk the king to St. Mary's Hospital. The news broke instantly. Major outlets like The Guardian, The Times, and BBC carried urgent headlines. King Charles III rushed to hospital in critical condition. Social media exploded, with hashtag #PrayForTheKing trending globally, thousands sharing posts from citizens to celebrities. At Buckingham Palace Square, crowds held flowers and candles, hoping for a miracle. "He's fought this illness for so long," a woman cried. "The monarchy needs him." Inside the palace, tension was thick and unrelenting. Prince William, Kate Middleton, and Princess Anne gathered in a private room. William's face showed deep worry as he spoke on the phone with doctors. "How is my father?" "I need to see him now," he said, voice trembling. Kate held his hand, offering comfort. Anne, pacing, muttered, "We must be together. This is no time for division." Then, an unexpected blow came from the hospital. Camilla, Charles's lawful wife, demanded exclusive rights to care for him, citing her role and royal protocol. She insisted only she would attend him during this critical period. Camilla, who had waited years for this moment, arrived at the hospital in a black dress, her silver hair styled perfectly. Swarmed by reporters, she declared, "I'm deeply worried for my husband. As his wife, I will stay with him constantly." Her words seemed warm, but beneath them was calculated intent. From her past affair with Charles to ongoing criticism of her as unfit for royalty, Camilla knew public perception was divided. By controlling Charles's care, she could craft the image of the devoted wife and assert influence over succession should Charles falter. William and Kate arrived shortly after, only to be stopped at the room's door. A guard politely explained, "Queen Camilla has requested only she be allowed in." Doctors concerned about stressing the king supported the restriction. William slammed his fist against the wall. "This is my father. She has no right." Anne's voice sharpened. "Why is she doing this?" "We are family." Their pleas, however, went unanswered. Whispers spread among palace staff. Some wondered if Camilla feared William might claim the throne too soon. Others questioned her boldness. The atmosphere inside grew suffocating. William called advisors, planning for worst-case scenarios. "We must be ready for anything," he said, exhausted from sleepless nights. Kate encouraged unity, but all sensed Camilla's growing confidence. She issued orders about Charles's clothing and personal items, acting as if she were in charge of the monarchy itself. Behind closed doors, secrets and suspicion. Camilla didn't stop at appearances. In secret, she met with legal advisors discussing wills and succession rights. Charles had intended to pass the throne directly to William, bypassing her, but she would not accept it. Decades of waiting had led to this moment, and she wanted lasting influence over the monarchy. She whispered to Charles during brief moments of lucidity, promising care, but secretly aiming for him to sign documents securing her position. That afternoon, she returned to the palace to gather more clothes. In their shared bedroom, she discovered a hidden drawer containing the king's will. Her eyes widened as she read that the throne would pass to William, leaving her with no governing authority. Fury overtook her. "After everything I've done for you, you choose that boy," she muttered, slamming the drawer. She quickly composed herself and returned to the hospital, instructing her secretary to prepare a media plan to portray herself as the devoted wife. At the hospital, Camilla resumed her role, gently holding Charles's hand and whispering softly. Doctors reported his condition as stable but critical, requiring a ventilator. Camilla nodded, feigning concern, but inside she seethed. Late that night, she leaned close to the king and admitted to herself that she had never truly loved him. Her devotion had been to power. She even toyed with the thought of ending his life, fingers hovering over the ventilator tube, savoring the feeling of control. Unbeknownst to her, William had slipped into the hospital, defying restrictions, and overheard her whispers. When her hand accidentally disturbed the ventilator, alarms blared. Charles struggled, and Camilla feigned panic, pressing the emergency button. Doctors rushed in. William witnessed the chaos, and Camilla fled. Suspicion began to swirl toward William as Camilla's absence and manipulation shifted blame. She subtly reinforced rumors to her secretary, suggesting William caused the previous night's crisis. Tabloids ran sensational stories claiming William's ambition endangered his father. At the hospital, she maintained her devoted image, bringing snacks and flowers while ensuring staff doubted William. William confronted her, furious. "I saw everything. Every word, every move." Camilla's cold response was chilling. "No one will believe you. You have words. I have the image of the devoted wife." William was left shaken as she walked away. By the morning of September 16th, Charles began to show signs of recovery.
After experiencing the temporary side effects of his cancer treatment, he's now returned to Clarence House, where he's continuing to work.
William, having stayed all night, held his father's hand, whispering memories and comforting words. Though Charles remained weak, the bond between father and son strengthened. Suspicion lingered among staff, but the truth of Camilla's actions remained hidden. Her carefully staged devotion had created doubt, confusion, and fear. The royal family and hospital staff were trapped in a tense web. William's frustration and helplessness contrasted sharply with Camilla's calculated composure. Every action she took seemed designed to manipulate perception, maintain control, and subtly plant seeds of mistrust. In the palace corridors, aides whispered, speculating on motives and alliances. William felt increasingly isolated, the stakes rising as the king's health hung by a thread. By late afternoon, Charles was stable but far from out of danger. The ventilator beeped steadily, a reminder of how close the crisis had come. William remained vigilant, checking every line and machine, whispering to his father, recounting lessons from their past, and pleading for his recovery. In these hours, William not only fought for his father's life, but for the integrity of the monarchy itself, aware that Camilla's manipulations could have long-lasting consequences. Camilla, meanwhile, cultivated her image outside the immediate crisis, carefully managing her interactions with staff and media. Her poised demeanor and carefully chosen words portrayed a devoted spouse, yet beneath the surface, every movement, every glance, and every whisper was part of a broader, calculated plan. William, sensing the danger, knew he had to act. But the path to revealing the truth was fraught with obstacles, from palace politics to public perception. By the end of this tense day, the stage was set. A family torn between loyalty and suspicion, a queen wielding power behind a carefully constructed veil of devotion, and a son determined to uncover the truth. The events of this single day would ripple outward, shaping the fate of the monarchy, the legacy of King Charles, and the future of the British royal family. Confrontation and the truth unfolds.
That the king is still having cancer treatment. That's now been going on for a year or so, and this news came via a statement from Buckingham Palace.
The morning at St. Mary's Hospital was thick with a quiet tension. After days on the brink, King Charles began to stir. His frail hand moved slightly in William's grasp, a small but promising sign of life. The prince had not left his father's side, whispering soft reminders of the past, stories of hunting trips in Balmoral, tales of family traditions, and quiet encouragements. "Dad, I'm here. Everything will be fine," William murmured, his voice tight with emotion. Charles's eyes, clouded with illness, flickered open, recognition breaking through the haze. "William, is it really you?" he rasped. That single moment, fragile yet profound, was enough to reaffirm William's resolve. He had to act to protect his father and the monarchy. The prince's mind went back to the whispers he had overheard the night before, Camilla's venomous words, her hand hovering over the ventilator tube, the almost deliberate alarm that had sent Charles into distress. He told the king everything he knew, every detail, every threat. "I saw it all, Dad. I promise, I'll find proof. You won't be betrayed again, Charles." Though weak, clenched his son's hand with surprising strength. "If you can prove it, William, I will not forgive her. She must be removed from this palace, the weight of the monarchy, the throne, and his family's legacy pressed down on the young prince." Without wasting time, William summoned Dr. Harrington, the lead doctor. "I need all surveillance footage from last night," he demanded, urgency in his voice. The doctor hesitated, understanding the legal and medical sensitivities, but William's determined gaze left no room for refusal. Soon, the tapes were ready, and the truth unfolded on a small screen in a private room. Camilla was there, leaning over Charles's bed, whispering words dripping with malice, her hand dangerously close to the ventilator tube. Alarms sounded, staff rushed in. Every second captured the calculated threat she had posed. William's fists clenched, the anger and relief intertwined as he saw the full extent of her betrayal. Charles, witnessing it again on tape, felt a mixture of shock, sadness, and resolve. "No more mercy," he said, his voice quiet but firm. "You will act in my name." The palace's advisors, legal counsel, and media team were immediately mobilized. Plans for a press conference were set, designed to expose the truth while preserving the dignity and stability of the monarchy. Every moment, every word, every step was calculated. The goal was clear. The world needed to see the betrayal, and the monarchy needed to show strength. The Royal Press Conference. By September 18th, Buckingham Palace was alive with anticipation. Thousands of journalists, photographers, and onlookers had gathered outside, eager for an announcement unprecedented in modern royal history. Inside, the Grand Hall was meticulously arranged. Rows of chairs aligned perfectly, security personnel stationed strategically, legal advisors ready, and the large screen behind the podium displaying the royal crest. Every move, every detail had been planned to the second. William entered, exhausted but unwavering. His navy suit, striped tie, and royal crest pin gave him an air of authority. Charles, though visibly frail, insisted on attending, seated beside the podium as a symbol of resilience and authority. The presence of both father and son was more than symbolic. It represented continuity, accountability, and justice. At 10 a.m., Big Ben struck, and the doors opened. William stepped forward, facing hundreds of cameras, microphones, and a waiting audience. He began steadily, "Good morning, citizens of the United Kingdom and friends around the world. Today we stand here not only to update you on the King's health, but to reveal a truth that concerns the honor and future of the monarchy." The room fell silent. He explained, calmly yet firmly, the events at the hospital, the critical illness, the isolation imposed by Camilla, and the dangerous interference with life-saving equipment. Gasps spread through the hall as reporters realized the gravity of the accusations. William signaled to the screen behind him, and the footage played, Camilla whispering threats, her hand brushing the ventilator tube, causing alarms to ring. The silence was deafening. "This is not rumor. This is truth," William asserted, his voice resonating with authority. Charles, now standing despite his frailty, moved to the microphone. "I, Charles III, King of the United Kingdom and the Commonwealth, declare today that Camilla Parker B.S. has betrayed the trust of this monarchy and this nation. From this moment, she is stripped of all titles, privileges, and permanently banished from the palace." The hall erupted. Applause mixed with stunned gasps. Security quickly escorted Camilla, who had appeared at the hall's entrance in panic, shouting that it was all lies. Her desperate cries were drowned out by the repeated footage on the screen, leaving no room for denial. The cameras captured her face, the pale, tear-streaked visage of a once powerful queen, now reduced to disgrace. Public reaction and media storm. News outlets went into overdrive. Headlines across the globe carried words like "Traitor Queen Exposed," "Royal Betrayal Shocks the Nation," and "Prince William Protects Monarchy." Social media exploded, with hashtags Camilla Exposed and Royal Betrayal trending worldwide. Crowds gathered outside Buckingham Palace Square, waving banners, holding flowers, and cheering for Charles and William. An elderly woman, tears in her eyes, whispered to a reporter, "We suspected her for years." Today, the truth is proven. Inside the palace, Charles and William shared a quiet moment. Charles, exhausted, grasped his son's hand. "You did what I could no longer do," he whispered. "From now on, lead this monarchy with honor." William nodded, acknowledging the immense responsibility he now carried, knowing that his actions had not only saved his father, but secured the stability and reputation of the royal family. Meanwhile, Camilla's fall from grace was absolute. She was driven from Buckingham Palace in a simple black car, unaccompanied by royal security or fanfare. Reporters shouted questions, but she remained silent, head bowed, her tear-streaked face captured by cameras worldwide. She was taken to her Wiltshire home, a modest red-brick house now transformed into a prison of her own making. Alone, she confronted the consequences of her actions. That first night, the rain tapped against the roof, echoing her disgrace. She turned on the TV and saw herself replayed endlessly. The whispers, the ventilator incident, the banishment. The BBC anchor's words cut deep. This was irrefutable evidence of betrayal. She screamed at the screen, threw the remote, and downed a glass of wine, trying to drown her despair. Memories of Charles, his protection, love, and defiance clashed violently with the reality of her fall. The next days brought relentless media coverage. Camilla banished, traitor queen exposed, William protects monarchy. Social media erupted with memes mocking her. Even family and old allies distanced themselves. The world she had tried to control now rejected her completely. Camilla wandered her Wiltshire estate, overgrown gardens and empty halls echoing her isolation. She replayed her decisions in her mind, questioning her ambition, her greed, and the path she had chosen. Sitting on a bench in the fog-filled garden, she realized the throne had never been hers. Tears and bitter laughter mixed as she confronted the enormity of her defeat. Meanwhile, the monarchy moved forward. William emerged as the protector of the crown, Charles gradually regained strength, and the family united in both public and private. Camilla, once the center of ambition and intrigue, was now erased from the palace, living only in the public memory as a cautionary tale of greed and betrayal. The events of September 2025 would be remembered not only for Charles's health crisis, but for exposing ambition, deceit, and the triumph of truth over manipulation. It was a story of power, betrayal, survival, and justice, a defining moment in the modern history of the British monarchy. In the end, it wasn't the power, the crown, or the title that defined this story. It was the truth. The truth that tore through silence, broke illusions, and forced the world to see what really hides behind the royal walls. Camilla's downfall wasn't just about betrayal, it was a reminder that even in palaces built on centuries of tradition, ambition can still destroy everything it touches. And for King Charles and Prince William, this chapter wasn't just painful, it was necessary. Because sometimes, to protect the crown, you have to expose the darkness that lives closest to it. The monarchy survived, but it would never be the same again. The whispers faded, the walls stood tall once more, and the world moved on. But the memory of that day stayed. The day truth walked into the palace, and loyalty finally took its rightful place. So, what do you think? Was this justice, or just another royal cover-up?